Hey friends, I'm Noor. Welcome back to my channel. Lovely to see all of you guys again. I hope everyone is doing well and fantastic today. May I interest you to a May wrap-up? Get it? May I? May? Puns? No? It's okay. So today I will be doing my May wrap-up. For the month of May, I read 8 books, which is fantastic as compared to my previous month, April, where I only read 5 books. This month has been very interesting. I read a lot of interesting things and I am going to share with you guys what I've read this month. This month onwards, I will be doing my wrap-ups in rating form. So I will start my wrap-ups with the lowest rating and then slowly build out to the highest rating. I don't want to go back and forth to a low rating and to a high rating. More organized, one way or another. Without further ado, let's just begin. There's only one 3-star rating book, and the book is The Fault in Our Stars by John Green. I went into this book with a lot of expectations, very high expectations, mainly because there's a lot of hype around this book at YouTube, BookTube, Goodreads, wherever. Also because it's John Green, and John Green is one of the influential people in YouTube. I do follow his channel. I really like the things that he talks about in his channel. Very important, significant things, which I appreciate, and I really like that. A lot of people say that they cried when they read this book. I am a very easy crier. I cry a lot. I cry at the slightest thing. So I am very kind of looking forward to the crying session in this book. However, I don't really like this book. I did enjoy it, but not enough to make me like it. It tells the story of this girl named Hazel who has cancer, and she met a boy named Augustus Waters in her cancer support group. The writing style I like. I feel like the writing style is really nice. John Green did a really great job in writing. It's really well written. However, the plot was a little bit of issue for me. I feel like there are certain parts where John Green fails to build up the atmosphere prior to the tragedy, and there are certain parts of the tragedy where it is being cut short and it felt very rushed. John Green could have invested time to build up on that atmosphere before the tragedy, or to build up on the scene of the tragedy, just to make the flow a little bit nicer, because from one scene to the other after the tragedy, it feels very cut off, very rushed, and it wasn't satisfying for me. I have only one problem with one character. The rest of the characters are really great. I really like Augustus Waters. He's really funny and really cool. I like his bravado and his personality basically, but I couldn't click with Hazel, unfortunately. There are parts of her where she is really sarcastic, witty, smart, and I appreciate people with that character. I have no problems with that. She uses big words, which I am perfectly fine with it, but there are also parts of the book where she doesn't have that character, where you can kind of notice that she is a totally different character. She doesn't use that words. All of a sudden that personality is missing. It's either one, John Green couldn't make up his mind about Hazel's character, or 2, Hazel is trying so hard to impress Augustus Waters. So I'm not sure about that. The Anne Frank house, I find that really inappropriate. If you've read this, then you would know what happened at the Anne Frank house. I was not supportive of that, mainly because Anne Frank house is a museum, it's a memorial place. You don't do that. It's kind of rude, really rude. No one's gonna go clapping because they did that. It's rude. So overall, I give this 3 out of 5 stars. I enjoyed the writing style. There's a lot of quotable quotes. The plot is cliche, but so does all the other cancer books out there. It's just those 3 things. The build up of the tragedy or the build up of the climax wasn't enough. Hazel's character is really on and off. I couldn't relate to her and the Anne Frank house, which I don't appreciate at all. The next 2 books that I read are in the 3.5 rating, and the first one is Kindred Spirits by Rainbow Rowell. This is a very short book. It's only 62 pages long. It is the World Book Day for this year, and it tells the story of Alina, who is a Star Wars fan, and one day she wanted to join the queue to all these Star Wars fans outside the movie theater when Star Wars 7 was being released. But when she got there, she didn't really have that experience. There were only 2 people that were in the queue, and they were not even close to be looking like a Star Wars fan. So it's just a very short story about these 3 people and how their lives intertwine, and very cute, very interesting. I really enjoyed it. I really love Rainbow Rowell's writing, and now I am going to like devour all of her books. The next book that is in the 3.5 stars is Sharp Objects by Gillian Flynn. This is Gillian Flynn's debut novel, and it tells the story of this girl named Camille Pricker, who is a journalist, and she has to go back to her hometown to report on a case of 2 girls that is being murdered. The reason why she left town was for certain reasons. When she comes back to town to meet her crazy mother and her also crazy sister, she has to kind of face her past and everything that happened a long time ago when she was a child. I really enjoyed this. I find it very fast-paced. It's very attention-grabbing. I was really captivated by the whole story. However, I feel like there isn't enough story that goes around the murder of the 2 girls in this town, and it's a lot more on what happens to Camille Pricker and her mother and her half-sister. The ending was a little bit rushed. I don't feel the thrillness of the book. For one person who doesn't read a lot of thriller, I do like the characters though. I do like the character of the mother and the younger sister. I mean, all of them are just crazy in this book. There are a lot of scenes that is a little bit cringe-worthy, so you have to kind of take note when you go into this book. You will have a trigger if you're sensitive to these kind of things, to cutting and blood. Overall, I do wish that there will be a lot more plot that revolves around the murder. I still do enjoy this book. It's a very fast read, and I will definitely check out more Gillian Flynn's books and see how her writing progresses on her 2nd and 3rd book. Next 3 books are in the 4.5 stars rating. Your first one is Elizabeth is Missing by Emma Healey. I have done a book review on this, so if you want to check that out, then links will be at the corner over here and down below. And basically, Elizabeth is Missing is Emma Healey's debut novel. It tells a story about Maud, who is suffering from dementia. She couldn't remember a lot of things except for one thing, that her friend Elizabeth is missing, and she goes out on a quest to find Elizabeth and what happened to her and all of that stuff. It's a slow read because Maud is suffering from dementia. So what I like about this book is that Emma Healey really writes the narrative of Maud that is suffering from dementia, and you can really read her perspective of someone who is suffering from dementia. So with that, you really have to be patient with this book because there are times where Maud can be very repetitive, can be all over the place, can be forgetful, and it's only because she has dementia. So I really like this. If you want to know more, then check out my book review. Next one is Getting the Girl by Markus Zusak. This is Markus Zusak's YA trilogy. Markus Zusak is very famous for The Book Thief and I Am the Messenger. I also did a book review for this, so if you want to watch that, then links down below and at the corner over here. Getting the Girl is basically his 3rd book in the Wolf Brothers trilogy, and it tells the story of Cameron Wolf, who is this awkward, shy, introvert teenager. He kind of hopes to fall in love like all teenagers do, until one day he met this girl named Octavia, who so happened to be his eldest brother's girlfriend. He was hoping that Octavia might notice him and hoping that Octavia might notice how playboyish his elder brother is. Markus Zusak's writing is beyond fantastic. If you have read any of his works, it's fantastic. I really like how his writing style is really suitable for Cameron's character. I really enjoyed this book and I highly recommend you guys checking it out. And next one is George Orwell's Animal Farm. This is produced first before 1984, and Animal Farm in 1984 goes hand in hand. They are like companion books. Animal Farm is basically a story about this farm that is filled with animals who wanted to run by themselves instead of being run by humans or farmers. So they chased their farmers out, and so they decided that Animal Farm will be an independent farm. So all animals are equal to one another, but because of the fact that some animals are a lot more smarter than other animals, trouble ensues, and so they try to gain power, they try to be smarter, and they tell the less smarter animals certain things that are not true. So eventually all animals are equal, but some are more equal than others. This book is very closely represented to Stalin Russia. So it has a lot of symbols about Stalin Russia and about communism. The story itself is very interesting, kind of creepy towards the end. Hilarious too. I think it's a little bit dark, like a dark humor, which I enjoyed. So I recommend you guys reading this. And the last rating is the 5-star rating, and there are 2 books in this 5-star rating. The first one is And the Mountains Echoed by Khaled Hosseini. I have done a book review on this too, so again, link down below and on the corner over here. And this basically tells the story of these 2 siblings, Abdullah and Pari, who is from a town outside of Kabul, and one day they have to travel across the desert to Kabul with their father to meet somebody, and they don't know what their fate awaits there. That's basically the story. That's how the story goes from there. I really like Khaled Hosseini's writing style. I really enjoyed both of his books, A Thousand Splendid Suns and The Kite Runner. This story is a little bit different as compared to his other 2 books, mainly because it is a story that covers a span of generation, and it not only talks about Abdullah and Pari's perspective, but also their children's perspective and their parents' perspective, and it has multi-perspective, which is very different from his other 2 books. So if you want to know more about what I thought about it, then yeah, watch my book review, of course. And last but not least is Schindler's Ark by Thomas Keneally. This is the last book that I read, and this is the longest book that I've read this month. Basically, this is a novelization of Oskar Schindler, who is a German businessman during World War II, the Nazi occupation. Oskar Schindler is very famous for saving the Jews. Basically, he is a businessman for animal wear and for the weapon industry during the Nazi occupation. He took in Jews in the pretext of free labor. His purpose is to bring all the Jews into his factory so that they will be treated better, so that they will be given more food, and at the same time so that they won't have the possibility of being shot dead on the spot as compared to the fates of those Jews in the concentration camp. This is a very, very insightful, very comprehensive book. It's really, really detailed. It is a fiction mainly because there are certain scenes where Oskar Schindler would have a conversation and Thomas Keneally would try to imagine what Oskar Schindler might say when he was having that conversation in that particular scene. The rest of the stories are non-fiction. It's true, he did interview all the Jews that was under Schindler at that point of time, and he actually went all across the continents trying to interview them and get their story and trying to get an account of Oskar Schindler. It's a very important book. I seriously have to tell you guys that if you are interested in World War II, if you are interested in the Nazi occupation, then this is one that you should pick up and read it. It is also published under the name of Schindler's List after the Spielberg's movie Schindler's List that is being acted by the amazing Liam Neeson. So you definitely have to go out there and definitely have to buy it. It's very, very thought-provoking. There are some scenes where it's so brutal and it's very hard to read. I have to read this and then put it down, read this and put it down, because it's so hard to read knowing that at one point of time in history this actually happened. So those are the books that I read for this month. 8 books, a lot of great reads. So share with me in the comments down below if you have read any of these books and what you thought about them, and what did you read for the month of May. As usual, thumbs up this video if you have enjoyed watching my video, and subscribe to my channel if you want me to be in your subscription list to get the latest update, the latest video update from me. And yeah, until then, I will see you guys in my next video. Chill out!